All right, welcome back to the channel. We've been using Playback by Multitracks for about a month now, and it's amazing. I love it. It's been so easy. It's not as in-depth as Ableton, but it's a lot less stress on me and a lot less time consuming, and that is an important thing for us. So today, what I want to do is just cover some global settings that have really helped us out, that might help you out too, especially if you're new to it. If you are a seasoned Playback owner, this will probably be nothing new for you. But if you are new, like I was to this might help you. Plus, I was sharing some of this with some of my other friends who use this, and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that. So it never hurts to review. So first of all, we're going to go to our settings, which is this three little hamburger menu up here, and just hit settings. We have all these different tabs across the top. The last one here is just about. Then you have MIDI settings. We're not doing anything with MIDI just yet, but they're all on. They were on by default. I left them on. If it's not hooked up, it's not going to do anything bad. This is important. One time I put, when I first got started, I had Playback on this iPad, and then I put it on the other iPad, and then I hooked it all up like I did before, and I didn't get any sound, and I wondered what was going on. It's because my buses had reset. You can choose to set these out different buses, like if your interface has more outs. Now right now this is not hooked up to an interface, so it's only going out stereo because that's all this iPad has to offer. It's the only outs it has is left and right. But if this was hooked up to an interface that had 4 or 8 or more, you could click on these, which it's not letting me right now. You can click on these and choose which outputs to send them to. That way, if you want to send your lower frequency things out a separate input, like your kick and your bass, you can do that so they can be mixed separately. But at our church, we just have left and right. We're sending click and guide down one track and all the other instruments down the other track. So this is how our buses are set up. As far as the tracks, you can just see all the different tracks and all the names. I have not changed anything on this menu, but the main portion of our time will be over here in general, which is the first tab. This auto pan, send click and guide to left and tracks to right when there's a stereo output only. So let me untoggle that and go back to buses and see what happens. Now I have the option to send it to 1, 2, or both. And so I can choose to do that. But we are going to leave it on the auto split. The click sound, you can choose different ones. We've only used classic, so I don't even have a reference for what that would sound like. This one's interesting right here, and this was toggled off, and I think I'm going to leave it toggled off, but there might be times where I want to specifically come toggle it on. It's count into each section. It adds a verbal count into each song section. So I'm going to keep it off for a second and play
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
Now if I go over here before the verse,
Verse 1.
there was no count in. That is what it means. So let's go turn it on. I'll show you the difference. Now I'll go over here before verse and we'll get verse 1, 2, 3, 4.
Verse 2, 3, 4. Verse 2, 3, 4. Chorus 2, 3, 4.
You get it. Honestly, I don't know what this song selection pre-roll is. Provides a count in when playing from a beginning of a section. I haven't messed with that and it's just been off. You can change your languages. We just kept it on the English female. Song specific buses. So depending on the song, you can customize the buses. Reference track. Let me look at this reference track. It is included. If you don't know, at the end, I wanted to hear the reference track. But you can mess with this, but it doesn't do anything. I realized you have to push this little solo button, then you can hear it. I don't want to get copyrighted, but that's what that does. The default ambient pad, that's the only one we have. We haven't purchased any other pads, but if you purchase pads on like Multitracks, you can upload them. I figured out how to do it. We just haven't done that. I have my own pads that I sell at heyworshipleader.com, but you can't put your own pads up in there. You can just purchase pads that are already within like Multitracks store, like what was it, Peter James maybe, and some other famous people who make their pads. Playback redundancy, I just left that off. Audio device, if it were hooked up to an interface, it usually auto connects for us. And so right now it's just speaker because it's not hooked up to anything. But as soon as I get to church and I plug in my interface, it knows. We keep this waveform grid on. I'll show you what it looks like. It's the little counts inside here, because sometimes there'll be like a song this past weekend was in 6/8, but then there was like a 3 count and then another 6 count, and you can see when the grid is on. If you turn this off, you don't see the grid, you just see the waveform. So I like that on. This right here, the metronome style VU, the best I can tell is that on the click meters, one of them shows it like bouncing up and down and one of them just flashes. And so when it's toggled on, it's just flashing. When it's toggled off, it's like hitting up and goes down. So I just leave that on. That's not that big a deal. You have this song specific master fader. We haven't noticed drastic volume differences between different songs, but if I had, I'd want to put this on and I could adjust the master fader per song. Like let's say I made my own tracks, or you bought tracks from Multitracks, but then you bought some from Loop Community and they're just not the same level overall. Instead of going through all the different instruments, you can use this. The fader will default to 80% instead of 100. We have that toggled off. Power saver, we usually plug this in all the time. This is a newer device. I say newer. This is a 2022. It is now 2025, so it's not that new. MIDI out, we are gonna be using MIDI, so I just kept that on. And start pad player with songs. I'm gonna turn this off for now. I usually like the pad, but lately the pad, and maybe it's just this fundamental ambient pad, I don't really like it. And it's just overwhelming. And every time we pause a song in rehearsal, that pad just keeps going. I'm always like, hey, can you cut the pad? Hey, can you cut the pad? Hey, cut. Oh my gosh, it's so much and it's so thick and it's just annoying. And so we're probably just gonna keep that out. And then we're not using SMPTE. So that is it. That's all that we've used so far as global settings. I'm gonna make some more videos. If you have specific questions, let me know. I also went down as we've been setting this up and put my own questions. I'm gonna put them to videos and answer those questions for you guys. But let me know down in the comments what you want, or if there's something that I haven't done that you do, let me know. I wanna learn from you as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.